Recently, the Forsaken Discord decided to do a poll on who was the best character overall. This was a tier list done in the poll section. This was a list of the entire community made. And do you know who was voted the best killer and the second in S tier? Jason. For some reason, Jason is glazed by almost everyone ever. And why is this? I honestly don't know. Yes, his hitbox is massive, but he's still terrible, and I want to talk about why. Before I talk about why Jason is the absolute worst killer in the game, I want to talk about his pros. The reason why I'm going to do this first is because this kid is ass and there isn't much good stuff to it. So his first pro is punishing potential. If a guest or Shaletsky, or literally any move ever that slows down the survivor, he can do a funny gashing wound and take an incredible 50 damage, which removes at least half of the survivor's health or more on some survivors. His second and basically final pro is his pressure potential. He has the fastest walk speed and run speed, capping up to 28, which is faster than the survivor. His moves also do massive damage, so you always have to be careful while playing Jason. However, that's where the positives end. Now let's talk about Jason, and how he's by far the worst killer in the game. Number 1 is Kit. His kit is so hot garbage that needs to be the first thing we talk about. He has 4 moves in the game right now: Slash, Behead, Gashing Wound, and Raging Pace. I'm going to be talking about every single move in depth. So let's start out with Slash. This is actually one of the best things about Jason, and it's his only good attack. So let's talk about it. Slash is a very, very fast windup. It's almost impossible for the guests to get a block out of it unless they have perfect precision. Not only does it have a fast windup, it inflicts bleed and adds up to 28 damage. Bleed can also stack from bleed 1 to bleed 2 if hit multiple times, dealing even more damage. This attack is a saving grace. Not only is it by far the best M1 in the game, but it also has a bigger hitbox than most M1s, making it very viable. His M1 is also, in my opinion, the hardest to avoid. Because of his fast windup and Jason's running speed, it can be a pain in the ass not to get hit. His second move is Behead. Behead launches Jason forward with an attack that gives survivor helpless for 10 seconds, but Jason gets slowness 2 for 2 seconds. He gets it no matter if he hits the survivor or not. This move is so expected when you see it. The guest can get a block out of it. The survivor can actually get a massive advantage if you hit this on them because of slowness 2, which gives them a massive distance, and it's very punishing to miss because of speed. This move is absolute garbage at stopping survivors because, yes, they get helpless, but you get slowness, which if the survivor is smart enough, can make you maybe even lose them. This move is only good if used as a finisher, which if it is, basically makes one of his moves useless until you're about to kill someone. Not even mentioning the looping problem this guy has. This move is so terrible, it either needs a rework or they need to remove slowness too. The massive problem is that Jason can struggle to catch up to survivors. This move is terrible. The only move that could be as punishing to miss is walk speed override. But if I'm gonna be honest, it isn't as bad because Kukin can do something about looping. I don't know, man, just rework this move. Not to mention this move does 20 damage without bleed, so it's just a worse than normal one. Next, let's talk about his move, Gashing Wound, which may be even more punishing than it. This move is absolutely useless in chases. Unless they're in front of the survivor, Jason can't really do anything about this move. The only time you can really use this is to jump scare people doing gent, or to punish the survivor for missing an attack or ability. This move does 50 damage total. So, we have another useless move during chases. The thing Jason can struggle a lot in. But this move would be incredible for doing damage, especially if it does 50 damage, right, Atlas? No! No, it doesn't. Every other killer has a move that can be easily hit or can have potential to do massive damage easily. Jason can't really do that. All the other killers in the game can easily hit their main damaging move, but Jason can't. He's kind of relying on M1s and his final move to do damage. But let's talk about why this move is worse than every other move that does massive damage. We can use almost every other killer as an example for this, but I think 1X is the best here. 1X has a move called Mass Infection. Unlike Jason's Gashing Wound, where you have to be in certain conditions to actually hit your main damaging move, you can just spam it. It's also pretty easy to hit because of the pretty big hitbox and is ranged. But what does Gashing Wound do? Make you stand in place and look like a real life clown while missing it. Which I haven't mentioned yet, stops you in place, which makes it 10 times worse. It can legit be hard to hit a noob with Slight Skin because they can move as soon as their Slight Skin runs out, which it isn't really much of a punisher anymore, is it? His final move is Raging Pace. He stands still for half a second and becomes invincible to stunts. However, his walk speed is nerfed into a weird state between running and walking. When he's in the rage state, all of his moves do more damage except for Slash for some reason. Slash does 25 damage but doesn't apply bleed, Behead does 35 damage, and Gashing Moon does 75 damage. You know, these both do really high damage, but Behead and Slash are the only ones worth hitting. Slash dashes you forward while using it, which is very predictable for Guess, by the way. And Behead can be kind of hard to hit because you have to be close to the survivor. And for Gashing Moon, you can either have to parry a stun or Raging Pace while the survivor's doing a gem to Gashing Moon them, which you will take almost all their health. But let's be for real, this move is the definition of mid. The only time you can really use this in a chase would be the regain stamina, which, even if you did, the survivor could still easily loop you. Making the point of this move to help with looping and potentially do massive damage is just thrown away, making this move pointless if you're good at looping if you know how to use it, or if you parry. And that's his kit. He does have a terror radius of 45, so it's easier for him to sneak up on survivors, but honestly, that's not big of a deal. It doesn't really matter. Number 2, no ranged moves. So, a killer struggling on looping is very pathetic. And do you know why this is? Because he doesn't have any ranged moves. So if you get any distance at all, it can be kind of hard for Jason to catch up. And because he can't do anything about looping, and can't slow the survivors and only give them helpless, he's a joke. If Jason could do anything to stop survivors from moving him, he would be better than John Doe. Not to mention, he has an ass way of quote-unquote catching up. I do want to focus more on Raging Pace, to be honest. This move is half good if you use it to regain stamina and only stamina. Yes, you can get closer to the survivor and potentially get a hit, but that's pretty hard. Another massive problem with this move is that it's finding his ass. It's still better than Cool Kids, but it's still terrible. Only highlighting one survivor is pretty trash, I can't lie, which ties into his range move. If Jason's Raging Pace could view every single survivor and Behead reworked into a range move, that would be balanced actually, because every other killer except for Cool Kid can do that. But nope, the same looping problem is still there, and because there are no range moves, he can't do anything to stop looping, unless you count Behead, which gives the survivor massive distance. So because of Jason's lack of range moves, he's just helpless right now. Number 3, bad players. So if I'm gonna be honest, even though Jason is by far the worst killer in the game, that doesn't mean you can't be good with him. He can stack up to every other killer at their highest peaks if a perfect player plays with him. But when I talk about bad players in this context, I'm not talking about the ones playing Jason. No. I'm talking about the ones playing against him. Looping Jason is kind of easy if they, again, don't know what they're doing. And what I mean by don't know what they're doing, I mean not having a day specifically on Jason. Anyways, people always meme Jason's hitbox, but if I'm gonna be completely honest, it isn't that bad. Okay, wait, hear me out! Yes, Gashing Moon has a massive hitbox, but that's basically it. It's a pretty comparable hitbox to Anoli, which both of their E attacks have massive hitboxes. But why do people always say Jason's hitboxes are way too big? They're bad. In all honesty, the reason why people think that Jason's hitboxes are so big come down to 3 things. Number 1 is his M1 windup. This is unreactable. Unlike the other 3 killers with pretty reactable M1s and have the same hitbox as Jason, Jason comes out almost instant, making it feel like you got hit further away than you actually could sometimes. Number 2 is his sprint speed. Jason has the fastest sprint speed out of all the 5 killers, so if you're just running in a straight line, his M1s are going to be almost guaranteed hit. And number 3, they can't loop. Or they're playing on a map that doesn't have any looping spots really. Which, you know, adds a teeny tiny bit of map dependency because of course Jason has. If you're a player with at least 3 days on the game, you should be fine going up against Jason. If it is a good Jason, it's way better for you to use the Sentinel with good teammates. But if I'm going to be honest, if you're a really good looper and you're playing up against an average Jason and you were using a survivor like 2-time, you're not only going to get backstabs in, but it's going to take almost the entire round for them to kill you if you set up your spawn point correctly. Or if an amazing 10 out of 10 looper starts playing Guess that has 115 HP, it's going to be hell to kill them, especially if you use Behead because it can easily predict and block, or even Gashing Wound. Number 4, forced targeting. Because of Jason's lack of a ranged move, he is almost always forced to target one survivor, which can be said for all killers, but it's really bad here. Because Jason can't disrupt other survivors while attacking the one he is chasing through a ranged move or a multi-hit move that actually works, because Jason can't really do that. So combined with his looping problem, having to basically go after one survivor the entire time just to lock in one kill is insane. Let's compare about how Jason works to literally any other killer in the game, but I think we'll use Nelly for this example. Nelly has 2 abilities that can not only do massive damage to the person you're chasing, but also to the survivors that are close by. Void Rush can multi-hit an infinite amount of times through a chain of survivors, and once that chain is done, you can go after the guy you're chasing to do massive damage. For Nova, it has a massive hitbox and is partly controllable. Jason having none of these moves, for supports like Elliot and Duskar, can some just zap you or give the survivor pizza. Like, if I'm being completely honest, having not only a massive looping problem makes you very pathetic of the eyes of an experienced survivor, but having to chase after one person for possibly the entire game is insane. When the slasher redesign comes out, I hope they rework Jason in some way or another to make him somewhat viable with his looping and targeting issue. However, this issue isn't really apparent in uncoordinated teams. Because they won't be working together, neutralizing targets will be so much easier. And if the uncoordinated team tries to work together, the guest will attempt to block the Ferris wheel and Cold Carnival, and Celestia will flash the invisible demons in the air, making it somewhat easier for him to kill people. OMG, positive guys, OMG guys, OMG guys. I'm actually talking positively about Jason. So that's basically it. I don't like Jason as a killer. I do love playing him and he is fun to play, but having so many easy to fix problems, how brain dead this community is with him, it just hurts my brain that I had to make a video on it. And because if this video somehow gets 10 trillion views and all of you start a war about how Jason is the best, please elaborate. I've seen comments where people just don't elaborate. Please do if you want a good statement about what you're arguing for. And before you can start unleashing 4 massive trucks on me, just remember, this is my opinion, and you can't change anything about it.
Driving in my car right after